Funny TSM.
Mommy money getter, TSM,
Getting money, what you say, huh? Getting money, what you say, huh? Getting money,
yeah. What you
say,
say,
huh? Getting money,
TSM, yeah. It's like the money coming quicker. It's TSM and it's the mommy money getter. Get money every day. Get money. What you say? You gotta stack it up like 2 times. Them hunters got the blue lines. That money laid down like it's a couch or it's a futon. She going to that money, but that money going with her. If you don't know who want it, it's the mommy money getter.
getting money, what you say, huh? 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 Getting money, what you say, huh?
Funny TSM.
Mommy money getter, TSM,
Getting money, what you say, huh? Getting money, what you say, huh? Getting money,
yeah. What you
say,
say,
huh? Getting money,
TSM, yeah. It's like the money coming quicker. It's TSM and it's the mommy money getter. Get money every day. Get money. What you say? You gotta stack it up like 2 times. Them hunters got the blue lines. That money laid down like it's a couch or it's a futon. She going to that money, but that money going with her. If you don't know who want it, it's the mommy money getter.
getting money, what you say, huh? 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 Getting money, what you say, huh?
All right, what's good, everybody? Sorry, I am late. I'm gonna always try to figure some stuff out at the last minute, though, right? I'm trying to get this StreamYard stuff situated. I had to go ahead and pay for the plan. Okay. What's good, everybody? How's everybody doing today? I have another riveting, action-packed live for you guys tonight. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys plan to come up and help your girl out. Join me on the stage. You can see I don't have my video on, so if you're a little camera shy and you would like to come up. I had somebody ask me last night, like, listen, I would like to come up on the panel. Was that last night? I don't know. I was so sleepy. But at any rate, you guys can join me on the panel. If I already know you, you're good to go. If I don't know you, I don't know. I'm gonna peep game and see what's good. Y'all know I gotta watch my back. I'm not just anybody, right? So I can't just be letting anybody up here on the stage. Okay. But yes, if you want to come on up as we get into it and you have something you want to say, hopefully it contradicts whatever I said, because it's never fun if you guys agree with me. I'm going to tell you that right now. But I like this whole situation. I have sounds. You get sounds. I didn't even realize this. I've been going, I've been doing StreamYard on my phone. You don't get all the bells and whistles on your phone with StreamYard. Also, you don't get to add anything if you have just the generic StreamYard. You know, you got to pay to get all the extras. And it's up to you. You don't have to if you're just getting started and you don't want to do it. Um, I'm not plugging this stuff. I'm not getting paid for it. Or am I? I don't know. But who's in my chiz at? I see my homie, Dr. Ninja Turtle. What's good? Thanks for tuning in. Who else do I have? I have see now I created a banner and it's not playing on the top. I don't even know what that's all about, but I'm not going to mess with anything today. I'm just going to try to, but I'm going to get everything up so that when you guys come on here, you're not just looking at a screen. Okay. Um, you always agree with me, Dr. Ninja Turtle? That's crazy. No, you don't. You actually don't. You're always contradicting something that I said, and it's totally fine. Hey, KN, thanks for tuning in. Hi, Miss Jump for Joy. I like that screen name. That's pretty dope. Um, so tonight, what are we talking about? Can you guys all hear me? I am on my laptop for the first time, so let me know if you cannot hear me. I got like two different gadgets in my hands. Um, I don't even think I need to have them in my hand. I can be hands free, but I guess it's just force of habit from what I'm used to. But tonight's topic, guys, this topic, let me just tell you, first of all, this didn't just, I mean, you guys know I'm always talking about being single and dating and my dating shenanigans and all that jazz. Well, today I was reading from Ephesians. I finished that up today, but I ended it with chapters 5 and 6. But 5 talks a lot about being submissive to your husband and how Christians should be submissive to the church the same way, right? So I'm like, okay, it says, and I want to make sure I say it right. So let me go to where the heezy is my beezy. My Bible's right here in bed because that's my partner for now, my Bible, guys. I'm like so lame. No, I'm just playing. But right now, my Bible is my companion so that when I wake up, as soon as I open my eyes, I'm supposed to read the Bible. This past week, I haven't been doing that at all. Like honey, I kicked my Bible out of the bed and put it on the dresser. Um, However, this morning I was like, you know what? You need to get back in the word, Charity. And that's what I did. So I was reading from chapter 5 today and I came across, let me make sure. Yeah, no, okay. Let me turn my light on so I can see. But it just really speaks to how we should conduct ourselves when we are married, right? Now, I strongly believe in the word and I believe everything that it says. And I also believe in marriage, right? And I believe that married people should act like married people. But I also believe in being free and having freedom. And I feel like people who are single should do what single people do. Okay, so Ephesians chapter 5, verse 19 says, verse 22 says, wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything. And it goes on to say, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word. So basically, like I said, if you are married, okay, you can do all that submission stuff. But if you are single, and we're going to get into some things today. So I hope you guys are ready. Replay gang, I know you always come in and show me love. So let me just show you that love right back. Leave a comment for me. You guys know I always respond to you. But I hope you watch until the end and definitely make it to the next live while we're doing it so you can join in on the fun. But oh yes, we're going to get into some things today. Thank you, Dr. Ninja Turtle, for the moderation. Please hit like and subscribe. This is not going to be a Bible study. I know what you guys are probably thinking, like, oh, here we go, here we go. No, we're not having Bible study, but what we are doing is talking about being single and dating. We're not really even talking about being married and dating because I'm not married. I was married before. It did not go at all the way I planned. Okay. I was very much in love with this person. At the time, I felt like he was my soulmate. And even though I knew this was probably going to be the most biggest disastrous thing that I ever done, and he probably thought the same thing, we both still was like, no, I want this. I want to, I want us to have this union. I want this bond with you. I'm never, in his mind, he was like, listen, I would only marry you. And in my mind, I was like, I didn't never want to get married, but I would only marry you too. And so we were just like, okay, let's do it and whatever. And so it was a lot that went on with that. And I will say that I wanted to be married to him for the rest of our lives. I did. We said we would never get divorced no matter how we ended up. If we ended up separated, if we ended up hating each other, divorce would not be an option. Even if we was with somebody else, we were still going to be married. That's how crazy we were about each other. Okay. Now, I married the person that I loved. And so for me, there was nobody else. He's no longer here on earth. But we did end up divorcing. It got real crazy and we did divorce. Separated people are in between married and single. Married is married and single is single. Dr. Ninja Turtle. See, you're already disagreeing with me, sir. You're already disagreeing with me, sir. Guys, put a one in the chat if you agree with Dr. Ninja Turtle that separated people are in between single and married. To me, married is married and single is single. I feel like you're not single until you're divorced. If you are married, you are still married. Separate all you want, legally separated. Okay, what if the divorce never happens? Even if the divorce even happens, sometimes people are still together. With me and that knucklehead I was married to, we were separated for a good while and we were still married. We were still, I mean, we had got back together. We were still living as man and wife at some point. So no, I wouldn't play that type of game because think about it. You meet a woman if you're a guy, or you meet a a guy, ladies, and he comes to you talking about some, oh, the lawyer was sick and he didn't get a chance to, and I got a guy that talks all about this too. Oh, he didn't get a chance to file the paperwork, so the paperwork is holding us up. And the whole time he just keeps giving you that runaround, and you're like, okay, when is the divorce happening? And the whole time he's really still tied to this other person. So, I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that. It's a gray area. You could say that. You could say that. However, because some people, they're just lazy or they procrastinate or for whatever reason, they never go and take care of their business. Like, I know people who are married and they have not been together for probably 10 years. And like I said, this is not about married folk. This is about being single and dating, okay? Because that's when I am. But I'll just touch on that for a moment. And we'll probably go back and forth with the married stuff, right? Well, if you stay married to somebody for longer than 10 years, number one, they are entitled to your retirement in California. I don't know about any other state. That's number one. So it doesn't matter if you haven't been with them in years. If you were married to them for 10 years, even if you're separated, they still, and I know people who I used to work with when their spouses retired, uh, unless they said, you know what, I don't want it, I'll sign off on it. Even if you're married to somebody else, and that's the same way with Social Security. I know people who were divorced, but because they were married to their spouse for 10 years, they were still entitled to that Social Security. So also, if you are married, if you are married to somebody and they happen to pass away, you are responsible for giving them a burial. You got to go claim that body. And guess what? It's whatever the wife says. I know people who couldn't get buried because the wife didn't want to sign off on things. So the United States government takes marriage very seriously. And all that separated stuff, and you don't have things, you don't have your paperwork together. So no, married is married, single is single. Okay. Now, where was I? So yeah, that's why I say, you know what? If married is married and single is single, like that boyfriend and girlfriend stuff, that doesn't mean anything. You can't take that to court. There is no judge in the land of the US of A that's going to take you serious if you go to them saying, well, I was his girlfriend where he lived with me. Okay, well, that doesn't mean anything unless he went and did like a domestic partnership or something like that. And you might as well get married if you do all that different stuff. But unless he goes to an attorney and legally puts you in position, or she does that for you, fellas, you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have a leg to stand on. And that's important if you're going to be with somebody. So all that stuff about, oh, marriage is just a piece of paper. No, it's not. It's not. There's a lot of perks, okay, that come to being married with someone. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot that comes with that. It's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of legalities. There's a lot of commitment, loyalty, all of that stuff. And that's why I say married is married and single is single. So I've been having a lot of blowback. I mean, people have been like really coming from my throat because I said that I want to date freely. Okay. And that didn't just come at the top of my dome. I didn't just say one day, oh, I just want to date and I want to date freely. No, I actually got that from a church I was attending while I was in college. And I think I spoke about this as well. At that church, they believe that married folk should interact with married folk and um, singles should have interactions with one another. So when they would hook people up, they will hook people up with the intention that they would get to know each other. But they wouldn't just say, hey, you know what, you two seem like a good couple. They would tell them, look, you date. You date. And dating meant dating. Dating didn't mean sleeping around or none of that. It meant more so, okay, we're all hanging out. And I'm gonna read a little something more current because this was so long ago. This was like over 30 years ago. Okay. So that this frame of mind was taught to me, right? So, or this way of thinking, rather. Let me see. Okay, where are you? Who was at my Dizor? Um, Let me go back into. I'm trying to find my bookmark, guys. Be patient. Be patient. Um, dang it. What did I do with that? And I'm going to tell you guys the website of where you can find that out too. Um, so you can go read it if you want to. Okay. So it's titled a Brief Guide to Christian Dating. And what I'll do is I'll attach it to the live later on in the description. I'll put it there if you guys want to read it. But basically, this guy is a pastor and he wrote this article about dating. And basically, what he says is, and let me get to that part. He talks about Ephesians, what I just said about being submissive and about being married, and how you don't have to be married, but if you want to be married, then of course it's permissible. But if you don't and you just want to serve the Lord, that's okay too. But if you do want to get married, he said, prepare yourself. And here's what he says. The first and most important thing to consider is your character. If the mission of, and I'm paraphrasing, if the mission of your life is to find a soulmate, you are going to miss out on the real mission God has laid out for you. Um, he says, play it cool, take a strategic approach, don't be in a hurry, take it slow when dating. Even if you're dating with the intent of getting married, resist the need to have a steady boyfriend or girlfriend for as long as you can. Enjoy the satisfaction of getting to know your brothers and sisters in fellowship with no strings attached. We all need space in the body of Christ to practice family. And if you are in a hurry to find a wife or a husband, then you run the risk of missing out on the freedom of singleness and amazing friendships. This can also look like settling for someone less than ideal. So you may be asking yourself, how does this work practically? Well, how do brothers and sisters in the body of Christ spend time with one another? They do this through fellowship and ministry. This can look like hanging out often and in big groups of people, getting to know as many members of the opposite sex as possible, build genuine brotherly and sisterly friendships, cultivate relationships so that you can discover over time what you are truly looking for in a spouse and who might fit that bill. This is an important part of church life, and it is the ideal way of discovering good candidates for a more serious relationship. And that's all I've been saying all along is listen, when dating, don't rush into things and don't just settle. Like if you meet someone and they ask you out to dinner, that's cool. I've never thought about doing things in a group setting, but I think that's cool too. Those of you who are married, if you have single friends and you want to bring everybody together, I think that's something that we should bring back to the forefront of our gatherings, right? I don't think we do that enough. And I don't think people have enough friends to do that. But if you do have friends, if you are a member of a church or of an organization or something like that, if you have friends and your husband has friends, try to get these single people connected, right? And don't push them to do that. Don't say, okay, I think you'd be perfect for him. Let it happen naturally, right? If people are getting together, having barbecues or whatever. And like I said, this advice is not just for Christians. This advice is for whomever thinks it's valuable. Hey, Ashley, how are you doing? 601 Ashley 10. Thanks for tuning in. Um, California has 7-year common law marriage. I don't know. Listen, I wouldn't play that game with that common law stuff. I don't know anybody who has a common law marriage, Dr. Ninja Turtle. And I wouldn't play that game, honey. Like I said, married is married. When it comes to uh divide the division of assets and all those different things, you can get tangled up in a lot of legality. So I wouldn't even play that game. No, if you want me to move in with you, if we're commingling funds, if we're supposed to be dedicated to one another, first of all, like I just said, I believe in marriage and I believe in a woman submitting to her man. You hear a lot about, oh, Black women aren't submissive. Black women aren't effeminate. Dot, 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 dot. Okay. I'm not submitting to anyone that I'm just dating. I'm not submitting, and I'm just your girlfriend. Like, you're my roommate. Understand me? You are a roommate. Okay. So let's just keep it real. I don't know if it's the law now. I know about domestic partnerships and marriage. I don't know about common law. And you know what, Dr. Ninja Turtle, I like to use uh my handy dandy Google. So let me go over to Google and let's see what they have to say about common law marriage. Okay. Okay. Common law marriage, California. It says California actually abolished common law marriage in 1895. Where did you get this stuff from, Dr. Ninja Turtle? Come on now. It says living together regardless of length or commitment doesn't grant legal marriage status. Okay. So it says California does not allow for common law marriage to be created within the state. A couple must obtain a marriage license and have a formal ceremony to be legally married. However, California does recognize common law marriages that were legally established in another state that permits them, even if the couple moves to California. So I guess if other states permits that, then California will still honor it if, I guess, or whatever. So there's that. So they do recognize out of state common law marriages. That was not the law when you was growing up, Dr. Ninja Turtle. It was abolished in 1895. Unless you are what, 130 years old. Sometimes marriage invalidates getting the retirement of the prior spouse. I don't know about that because my friend, she and I worked for the same organization that I just retired from, but her ex-husband also worked from there, and so did her new husband. Why didn't I get a new husband from our organization? There was lots of guys all around. That's neither here nor there. Let me focus. But when it doesn't matter. I told you it doesn't matter in California. As long as you were married for 10 years to someone, it doesn't matter if you marry somebody else or if you get a divorce. Okay, that's why I was like, no. My mom was like, oh, can't you guys just work it out? I was like, no, he wants this, and so do I. And then too, I was thinking about, my finances and things like that. Like, I wasn't getting ready to retire, but I was thinking way down the line. Like, I didn't want to have our funds commingled in any way. I didn't want to, be responsible for anything that had to do with him. And I didn't want him to have say so over anything that had to do with me. So I was just like, no. No, it's right there on Google, with several different sources. Why would Google lie? Why would I lie? But for real, so yeah, that's the whole thing. But again, I feel like there's no issues in my book with how I feel about um like I don't have a lot to say about marriage right now, but except the fact that I do agree in, being submissive to your mate. And I do believe that men should honor their wives and love them and protect them, right? But what does submission mean in marriage? Um, is it just biblical, cultural, or personal? Like, I don't know. I guess if obviously if you are not religious, you may not see it the same way that someone like me does. Okay. Like I said, I read the Bible every day. I believe everything that the Bible says. And I believe in women submitting to their wife. I believe in women asking their husband, not even asking their husband for permission. I believe in discussing things. And I believe that the man is the head of the household and he has the final say. However, I believe also that, as the word says, the man should love his wife And if he loves his wife, then he will consider her position and her opinion on the matter, and they would come to terms and come to an agreement together. That's how I feel. But um last week, Yo-Yo and I, we had a panel, we did a panel with some other people, and they didn't see, they to me, they saw dating as the precursor to marriage. I see being engaged as a precursor to marriage. I do not see dating as a precursor to a relationship. I don't feel that a woman should, or a man should feel like, okay, well, we're dating, we're getting to know each other, then, you know, if I decide to see somebody else, I'm cheating, or I should be, I don't feel that way. I feel like those things are for married couples. If you disagree, let me know in the chat. Set Social Security laws about remarriage. Well, we'll do that another night. We're not going to go all into that. If you want to do the Google and come back and let me know, Dr. Ninja Turtle, I'll believe you. But I know another coworker who, and at the time I didn't know that this also applied to Social Security. I thought it just applied to like retirement at my job. I don't know. I didn't know anything about it. I had never had this happen, and I missed the day when we did our benefits, so I didn't know about all this stuff. But you did not want to get sidetracked. Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like, oh, and guys, I have I set a super chat goal. So if we get to 5, I forgot to mention that, but I just looked up and saw it. If we get to 5 super chats, then I'll do another story time. The last time I did a story time, it was super lit. I really devote some things that, oh my gosh, I had heard them put that thing on members only. So if you're a member of my channel, then you can go see it. But if you are not, then you missed out. So if I get 5 super chats by the end of the show, I think the goal is by the end of the show, then I will do another juicy story time. So yes, no, don't worry about it, Dr. Ninja Turtle. But that's, you know what, it would be good information to know. I'm going to look it up. You know what? I'm going to look it up because somebody is probably listening. Somebody is holding on to that marriage and they've been separated and they got about 6 months to get that divorce before that clock is winded down to 0 and they owe their spouse half of their doggone Social Security. Let me see. Entitlement to spouses. Let me put that on here. How should I word that? Entitlement to spouses' Social Security. Okay. A spouse is eligible for Social Security spousal benefits if they are at least 62 years old and were married, for at least 1 year, or if they are caring for the worker's child who is under 16 or disabled. Okay. Marriage duration. You must have been married for at least 1 year to be eligible. Divorced spouse benefits. You can claim benefits as a divorced spouse if your marriage lasted 10 years or longer. Ex-spouse eligibility. Your ex-spouse does not need to be receiving benefits, but the divorce must be at least 2 years old for you to claim benefits if your ex-spouse has not yet applied for Social Security. So even if they don't apply yet, as long as you have been divorced for 2 years, you can go still claim those benefits. Okay. You will lose eligibility for divorced spouse benefits if you remarry. So you are right about that. If the later marriage ends due to divorce, death, or annulment, you may regain eligibility. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, if you marry again, then you can regain. And okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, you're right about that, Dr. Ninja Turtle. If that person remarries when it's time to when the 10 years is up before, you know, if they get married again, then they no longer have access to that. At my job, it wasn't like that with retirement, not that I think that I know of. So that's good to know. Hey Tasha, what's good? Now, chat, please let me know if you are married or single, and please don't feel like I'm a bully. Like I said, oh, and again, oh, shit. Oh, excuse me. I didn't even put the dog on, let me see. Okay, invite guests, copied. Um, let me see. How do I put this to the chat? Okay. I can put this in the chat. I can't see anything. All right. Okay, so I put okay, you got married in 2006. So you've been married for a while, Tasha. You have been married for a while. Congratulations. Everybody say a hand clap. Dr. Ninja Turtle is married as well. So let's clap for the married folks. So we're not going to even talk about a divorce, but this is good information for us to get out there because, like I said, we don't know who's on the replay. We don't know who's listening in the bushes and who may have not, you know, been ready to pull that trigger and get divorced, but they need to stop thinking about it and get it done if they don't want, that ex-spouse to have access to their funds, right? So yeah. Um, Let me go ahead and pin that if somebody wants to come up. You are listening and learning. Absolutely. I'm glad that I could be of service. So the StreamYard link is in the chat for anyone who wants to come up and talk about this marital stuff. And I asked a question, I think. Let me go back to it. Okay. Um, I think I asked who's married and who's not married. And Tasha is the only one that has answered. Dr. NT did say, what do you mean take your left? It does not affect the primary person's benefit. They still get the same amount. I don't care if they get the same amount or not. They're not getting none of my money, Dr. NT. Forget that. No, if I divorce you, you divorce my money too. You know? So I don't want you getting access to anything, not my social security, none of it. Absolutely not. And then also, I don't want you to have any control over anything. Like, remember that woman, Terry Shivo, years ago? She was on, I think she was on like a respirator or something like that. And the husband wanted her to, he wanted to pull the plug. And her mother and father, they kept taking him to court. Terry Shivo was on a respirator for years, and she was a vegetable. And so the husband wanted to pull the plug. He had even been remarried, and he still pulled the plug on their child. So yeah. Yeah. Tasha says she's agreed with me. So there, Dr. NT. But you don't want somebody, and that's why I said married is married, and that's how much power and control married people have over each other. So that's why I say dating is dating. Dating is dating, okay? When you're dating, you are dating. You are not married. And just like married folk should not act like single folk, single folks should not act like married folks. If you are Single, you are free as a bird. You can fly anywhere you want to. You can date anyone that you want to. Nobody owns you. Women, you do not have to submit to these dusty men. I'm just playing. Hey, Jazzy, what's good, mamas? How are you doing today? Girl, I'm back on my tip. I'm back on the same stuff I was on last week. However, it's not on purpose, okay? The reason I'm discussing this again is I was reading the Bible today, and um, I was in Ephesians chapter 5, reading about submitting to your spouse, women submitting to their husbands, and husbands loving their wives. And then date one person and focus on that person. I spoiled my wife when we were dating. Absolutely not, Dr. NT. Absolutely not. We just read from a religious leader who said that's absolutely not how it goes. Not in the beginning. In the beginning, you should be friends with somebody. And then if you don't want to lead that person on, because guys get accused of this often. Oh, he led me on. He made me think that he wanted to be with me. And really, a lot of times with men, they don't know how to shake the spot. Maybe they want to get to know you, and once they got to know you, they wasn't interested. And sometimes they ghost you, or they don't separate themselves like they should, right? But that's because we hold people to these high moral standards. Like, okay, well, you took me out on a date, so now you belong to me. No, I took you out on a date to get to know you. And I don't like what I know now. Same thing with women. It's like you get stalked if you say yes to a few dates, right? Oh, you just use me to eat. Excuse me? Like, if you ask me out on a date, that's on you. You asked me out on a date and you wanted to court me or whatever. Well, I allowed you to do that. And now I'm straight. I don't like you like that. I want to just be friends. Right. It should always start off at, okay, hey friend, let's go to the movies, or friend, let's do X, Y, and Z. It shouldn't have to be that, oh, because we hung out a couple of times, then we should be linked. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let me know in the chat if you disagree. I mean, like I said, if you want to come up and state your case, Dr. ENT, then, but we've been going at this back and forth all summer, Dr. NT. I've brought this up a couple of times, but I just want to make myself clearer today. And this will probably be the last time I talk about the subject of dating and being able to date more than one person at a time. Because again, if you're just friends and you're just getting to know people, it should not be the case that a man should feel like, oh, you belong to me. Did you ask me to marry you? Did you put a ring on my finger? Or, I mean, because if none of that happened, then I don't understand that thinking. I only know how to spoil one woman. Okay, that's fine. But so you meet somebody, day one, you're spoiling to somebody, to me, if I meet you, Dr. Ninja Turtle, right? And this is just a for instance, and I feel uncomfortable doing that. I won't say you. I will say if I meet a man and day one he's spoiling me, I'm gonna start thinking like, what's this guy's bag? Like, what is he up to? What does he expect? Because I don't owe him anything. I would feel like he would think that I owed him if he starts spoiling me day one. First of all, I don't want you giving me any gifts or anything like that. Like, you don't even have to pay a lot for a dinner. We don't even have to go out on that type of date. We could just meet up and just hang out at the park and just talk. That's what I like to do in the beginning. I love that for him too. And I love it doubly for his wife. that she gets to get spoiled, because not a there's not a lot of wives getting spoiled. But from day one, that's crazy. You meet someone from day one, then all of a sudden she's getting treated to the lap of luxury. I mean, but then if guys start doing that, then you don't know if she wants you for you or if she wants you for what you can do for her. I think to lead with gifts and money and things like that, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because I mean, how long do you know this person? You're saying day one, I meet you, go out on a date with you. Dr. Ninja Turtle, what's a first date with you looking like? Let us know in the chat. If a woman meets you day one, what can she expect on the first date with you? Besides dinner and perhaps maybe roses, if that, I'm not gonna say. You let us know. You know what you like? Okay, that's cool. You know you like her, but you know what you like at the beginning. You don't really know a person to even begin to say that you are correct or not, in my opinion. Because I met some guys that I liked, and once I got to know them, I didn't like them anymore. Or they did, or they said something, and I was just like, okay, you're not for me. And I also want to know, is submission outdated in 2025? Is that something that I'm at the wrong part. Sorry guys. I didn't mean to go there yet. So now you guys were friends for 1 year, then we connected. See, that's what I like. That's exactly what I like, Tasha, because you guys knew that you wanted to take it further, right? You guys are both friends. You guys knew that you liked each other, and you knew at that point in time that you just I think that's how it should happen naturally. Uh, two people are getting to know each other in passing. They're bumping into one another at different, you know, events that their friends have or whatever. However it happens, maybe you met at work, maybe you met at school, maybe you just saw each other around town. The topic tonight, I think, Enoch, you're gonna like this one. Tonight's topic is submission versus freedom. Why wives have rules, but singles have choices. Okay. Wives have the rules, singles have choices. And you ask somebody for their credit score, the first phone call, the score did not matter, but honesty is what I was looking for. You know what? See, I get it, but if I were to ask a man his credit score the first night, he would probably be thinking, oh, he was your next door neighbor. Oh my gosh, you were the girl next door, Tasha. That is so, oh my gosh. Oh, that is so romantic. Eek. You were the girl next door. I don't think I ever really had a relationship. I did meet a guy like that years ago when I was a teenager. I met him. I wasn't his next door neighbor, but he lived in the neighborhood, and my neighbor, he was cool with him. And he would go over to my neighbor's house all the time, and that's how we met. And we talked for that summer. It was fun, you know, or whatever. I was young, very young at the time, but that's as far as it went that summer. What's wrong with what, Enoch? That married women be submissive? I don't have a problem with married women being submissive at all. I was talking about how I came up with tonight's live while reading Ephesians 5 today, and I kind of tied it into my dating life right now. You've been here before. You've heard me talk about my dating life on several lives this summer, Enoch, and you've weighed in. And you know my stance, or I think you know my stance. And my stance on that is I like to have the freedom to be able to date and have friends. I don't like the idea of being tied down at this point in my life. While I do believe in marriage and I do believe in being submissive as a wife, I would like to have that opportunity. I don't be tripping, Enoch. I don't be tripping. I don't be tripping, Enoch. That's wrong. Okay. When are you ever gonna be on my side, Enoch? I need somebody on my side. For real, for real. But I do agree that women when they are married, and like I said, I view marriage as a religious um some people don't see it like that. Some people see marriage as just a piece of paper. Some people see it as just a formal legality of a formal coupling. But me, I see it as a religious institution. Get the man that who will give you the world. That's what I want. That's definitely what I want when I'm ready. Yeah, you do, and you know you do, and everyone knows it too. You know what? One of these days, Enoch, I'm gonna hit that block button for real. One of these days. I'm just kidding, buddy. But I'm not tripping. How am I tripping? How is that tripping, Enoch? Enoch, you and I meet today. I'm on my way to Houston. I'm coming to Houston. And me and you link up, right? And or you say, "Oh, I heard you coming to Houston. Let's link up for lunch," right? And I'll be like, "Okay." And the next thing you know, I feel like you my man because you asked me out to link up or whatever. All you was asking for were like, let's meet up for lunch. Marriage has guidelines given by God. Being single actually does too. I agree. No funny business before marriage. I agree with that. I actually agree with that. But friends are friends. And I feel like people who are single, I feel like a single woman and a single man should have the freedom to get to know people to decide, hey, who is my best match? Who do I have the most, not in common, that's not the word I want to use. Who is the best fit for me? Because men are visual, right? Men are very visual. And so just because you get along well with someone, that doesn't mean that you're attractive to them. Women look at things such as, can he protect me? Can he provide for me? And if she's a pragmatic thinker, she's going to be looking at how this person fits in with her life long term, right? So if you're dating someone as a man and you meet a woman and you feel like Dr. Ninja Turtle said he knew what he wanted and he was gung-ho about it, and from day one, he started spoiling his wife. He knew that she met all of his, she checked off all the things on his list, and he knew he wanted to pursue her. I get that. Doesn't matter what God say, you can just get to know someone, just keep it tight. What do you mean it doesn't matter what? It doesn't matter what does God say. You can get to know someone, just keep it tight. It does matter what God says. And for me, God didn't say that you couldn't date and have friends. Where does it say that at? It doesn't say that anywhere. Time means a lot to you too, Tasha. I can't protect in the fight, but I can provide. Oh my goodness. You can't protect in the fight. Then what is she gonna do what's she gonna do? Protect you? No, I do not understand what you said, Enoch. I do not. And I didn't say, I said date, not sleep with. Did you understand what I said? While you being smart. Listen, I put the link to the panel in my chat. Nobody's biting. Nobody wants to come up here and give their point of view, but you guys are welcome to click the link, and you don't have to show your face or anything. You can, turn off the camera if you want to, but you can come up here and talk about it. But no, I do not understand what you said, sir. And even if I did, I still disagree. How about that? So, single women, as I was saying, should have the ability to live life on their own terms. They can be independent. You know what? Pull up. Pull up. I want to see you pull up. Hit that link and pull up, Enoch. What it do? Yeah, this live is about honesty. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, like I said, I love a healthy debate, and I love for the fellas to come in and give their take on the subject, because it just adds balance to everything. But I'm not changing my mind about this. I I have had this mindset, like I said, since I was in my 20s. And even when, listen, even when when I first met my husband, we were just friends. Okay. We were just friends, like strictly friends. I didn't even like him like that. He said he kind of liked me like that, but he was never gonna pursue it or anything like that. But he was like, whatever. Um, but I liked other guys, right? And so because we were friends, because we were so close, eventually we did end up becoming more than friends. But even though we did, I was still seeing other guys. And he told me later on, look, I was seeing like lots of other women. I was like, so I was seeing, I couldn't tell him that. And at that time, if I had told him, listen, I had other guy friends too, it would have bruised his little ego. So I never said that to him. But I think he knew that in the beginning I was talking to somebody else that I was very serious with. Um, See, again, I was serious with this guy. He wasn't serious about me. And if you listened to my story time, then you know all about it. I'm not going to tell you guys about the story time. It's in the vault. That story time. Thank you, Tasha. Tasha says, I love MMG channel. I'm going to keep it real over here every time. I'm going to come with the business. Listen, if you want to listen to that story time that I did, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, maybe 1 week ago, like not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before. You got to join the membership now. Who, my husband? Listen, that man became my husband and my children's father after that. And we would always laugh. He said, I remember how you did not like me. You'd be like, ew, I don't like him. Oh my gosh, ew. He said, and look at you now. You married a nigga. But he didn't just grow on me. Like I said, we were friends. When we were friends, I loved him to death as my friend. I loved him to death as my friend. And he was very loyal, very protective of me as his friend. Like if I called him and I was like, look, because when we were friends, we were teenagers. And if I said, listen, my mom and dad are gone, I'm at the house alone, I'm scared because I lived in this big house. And I was like, oh my gosh, come over. And he would come over and stay the night with me again as friends. And he would do like, listen, by the time I graduated from college, when I was stressing and trying to find a job, he would come with me on interviews. We'd be driving all over LA County and he would be right there. And then eventually we started like falling for each other. And then we had like a brief fling that summer. And like I said, I was seeing other people. I guess he was seeing other people. And he told me years down the line, look, I was I was out there. I was like, you know what? he was like, I wasn't really serious about you at that time. I didn't know we would be here. And I was just like, you know what? That's crazy because I was really falling for you. And see what I mean? That was my best friend. But once we crossed that that line between being just friends to being more than friends, he wasn't even serious about me. I wasn't serious about him at first either. I was still doing my thing, and so was he. And eventually we would get to the point where we were serious and then we got married and we didn't, cheat on each other. Well, I didn't cheat on him. Let's just say that. But my point is, in the beginning, we were both young, and I don't want to see as a mother and even as an auntie, because I'm auntie right now to a lot of younger women and a lot of younger women who are listening to this. I wouldn't recommend that a woman that's just getting to know who she is and just entering college and that's on the verge of discovery as a woman, I wouldn't tell her, oh, go meet a guy and settle down with him. Absolutely not. I am not. You know what, Enoch? Enough. I'm about to mute you. You was there for story time, so I don't want that smoke. You gonna barbecue or mildew. You know what? You was there for that story time, Dr. Ninja Turtle? OMG, I'm a little embarrassed. But so you remember all of that. Was you there, Tasha? No, he passed away and we did ultimately divorce. Yeah. Yes. When you were young, you were wild. Okay, let me ask you guys this. You guys have a daughter who is, let's say, 20 years old. She's in college. What would you tell your daughter? The guys at the, a guy wants to date her. Would you tell her, okay, well, you got to be faithful to him. And if you start going out with him, thank you, Enoch. You know that, this is going to be your boyfriend now. He's asking you out on dates. So, you got to get serious and get ready to lock in. Is that what you're going to tell your daughters? Or are you going to tell your daughters, listen, right now is not the time for you to be serious. You need to focus on your schooling. It's okay to have friends, but school comes first. Because that's what I'm telling my daughter. Listen, don't get serious about these guys, especially not at the freshman year. Once you start getting older and maybe you're in your junior and senior year, let these guys show you that what they mean for you. If they're not serious, if they're not willing to come over here and let me give them the third degree, they're not serious about you. Don't even worry about that. Just be friends with people. Everyone should. How can you be faithful to somebody that you're just going out on a date with? How should you be faithful to somebody you're going out on a date with? That doesn't make sense. Like, make it make sense. How, if somebody asks you out on a date, you should be faithful. I think that's unfair. I think that would be unfair too. Like if you had a son and he's in college and girls are wanting to tie him down. He's not even done with college yet. He's trying to find his way. Yes, I'm going to give them the third degree. And if to me, if someone is not wanting to come sit on my couch and and my daughter had a guy come over. He didn't want to come over too much after that, after I got to questioning him and after I gave him the once over because and this was somebody that she really liked. And I was right about him, but she had to find that out on her own. But this was somebody that she really fell for in, like, I think junior year. And guess what? By senior year, it was over with. And I have been telling her, like, listen, you're just in high school. You don't need to be talking about going steady with somebody in high school. Now, sometimes that could work out. But I remember another friend of mine, she was having, it was her niece. It wasn't her actual daughter. No, this friend, her daughter too, as well. She was 18 years old, right out of high school, moves in with a guy. moves in with a guy and they start playing house and all of that at 18 years old. That's so young with so much life ahead of you. And already you want to move in with somebody. This is not the 1800s. We're living in in a different time where women have way more choices. So I don't know. I just disagree with that for any woman at any age, but especially young women. I disagree that you should be with someone and be faithful to someone and locked in, and this person hasn't given you a ring nor asked for your hand in marriage. They're just wanting to play house with you. Absolutely not. I don't care how serious the guy is about you. I don't care how much he loves you. I don't care how well he treats you. Married is married and single is single. And it's just as simple as that. So moving on from that. Why expectations change when a woman marries? Because again, like I was saying earlier, marriage is something that is seen as something that should be permanent. It comes with a lot of legal implications for a couple. And it's not just about signing a piece of paper and saying, okay, I'm devoted to you forever. No, once you become married, then you become as one. Whatever he deals with, you have to deal with because you're his wife. Whatever he struggles with, then it becomes your struggles. When you are not married to someone, when you shouldn't be living with them, in my opinion, and you're not responsible for making sure that they're whole. And what I mean by that is making sure that you help them when they're sick, or you help pay bills and you pull up the slack for them. You shouldn't have to be concerned with that if you're just dating someone. I know women who are just dating without the benefit of marriage, and they have guys asking to borrow their car, or they have guys asking for loans, or men who are just getting to know a woman and she's expecting things like childcare money, or she's expecting help with rent. I'm not sure that's what kind of mess is that? And men will state this clearly. I'm not helping you pay bills. You're not my girl. I'm not married to you, but they want your undying devotion. So what you're saying is, Dr. Ninja Turtle and Enoch, if you're just dating, then you're helping pay bills. You're paying car notes, you're getting hair done and all of that just for the woman you're dating. Are you wanting to sign over access to your to your passwords and all of that? Are you giving that up? Are you giving somebody you're just dating the key to your house? Are you letting them move in and you've been dating them what, 2 or 3 months? Because let's get to the bottom of this for real. What is different, Tasha? Right, I'm waiting. They're not going to answer that because they don't want to keep it real because they know they're not going to do that at all. Did I have a guy that wanted to marry me when I was 18? Um, I've had a couple of serious relationships, one engagement, one marriage. I didn't want to marry the first guy, but I did want the ring. I joined the army when she got pregnant before we got married. First wife. Hmm. Did you want to marry her though? Did you want to marry her, or did you feel a sense of duty? So you married her. I supported her and my child. But again, that's honorable. But did you love her? Did you love her? Did you want to marry her? There's a lot of shotgun weddings like that. And the men end up hating the woman because they didn't really want to marry her. And she ended up getting pregnant. That's why women shouldn't give up the goods and they shouldn't be devoted to a man unless that's the man that they want, because you give up the goods, you run the risk of getting pregnant. And then, ladies, you can end up stuck with somebody you don't really like that either. And if you put, to me, if a woman puts all of her eggs in one basket, right, with a man, if she meets a guy, he's a smooth talker like Dr. Ninja Turtle, he's pulling out all the stops. She's not seeing anybody else. So she doesn't have anybody else to weigh his behavior against. All she knows is, oh, he's treating me nice. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. But you don't have anybody else, again, to filter that. It is only a few good guys out there. And that's why it's that much more important that women should take their time getting to know them. Because if you just, you know, fall in love as soon, I know women like that. As soon as they meet somebody, they're in love. They want to get married. They want to have his babies. And then guess what happens with those women? They get their hearts broken. Those women end up in abusive relationships. Those women end up with cheaters because they didn't really take the time to get to know them. All they know is, you know what? And then this is what they say, this silly type of stuff. Oh, he love bombed me. Oh, he was so nice at first. Of course he was. To you, because you don't have anybody else. So you're only dating one person. So you don't know if this guy is really a good guy or if he's just somebody that you really like because you're lonely and that's all you have. But if you had another guy or maybe two other guys that you're also getting to know, then you probably wouldn't think that that one guy is really that good of a person. You may be able to see him, or guys in your instance, her, for who they really are. But you can't do that if you're not really taking the time to get to know that person. That, and I don't care, like I said, it's not about being a hoe. It's not about indulging yourself in risk-taking behaviors. It's just about really getting to know people and really seeing what they have to offer and being able to weigh it against other options. Single women have options, they have choices. Same thing for single men. I don't feel like you owe anybody anything unless you agreed that you were ready to be exclusive and pursue marriage with that person. If you guys didn't both come to that agreement, because sometimes a man might get there first or a woman might get there first. It may be 6 days later and she may be like, okay, I'm ready to be exclusive with you. What if the guy isn't ready for that yet? Or vice versa. You know what? I know I right, Tasha. And I don't know why these men are always trying to go against the grain. I don't know why they're trying to go against the grain, because if they meet a woman today and they go out with her and she get food stuck in her teeth, they may decide they don't want to see her anymore. So I don't know why they're trying to play that game. Can you be independent and submissive at the same time? Or is that an oxymoron? What do you guys think? They're trying to lock you down. You can't tie me down. Right. Like if they see a woman and her feet are too big or anything like that, anything that they deem unattractive, then they'll probably just take her to bed, and after that be like, oh, I didn't like her. For whatever reason. Or once, that's why ladies, do not, if you are really serious about being a wife, do not give these guys the goods. Do not let them work for your devotion and your love and your submission. Don't just give it to them, because a lot of these guys, once they get it, they don't want it anymore. I don't want to be locked down. Please don't try to lock me down. Anybody, please do not try to lock me down. That sounds like jail. It sounds like being in jail or something like that. Ugh. It sounds like slavery to me. And I'm not being facetious. I'm being so serious about that. I just feel like, no, it does for real. I mean, if you're not ready for that, yeah. If you've been in a committed relationship before, um, shoot, I feel like I've been a mom all my life. I feel like I just want my time for me. I've been running around with kids for the last couple of years, even this weekend. I'm just like, you know what? Never tired of my kids, never tired of being a mom, but sometimes I just want my extra time outside of my children. I want that for me right now. I don't want to give that to somebody else, except like for an occasional date or a friendship or something like that. I'm not trying to lock nobody down, and I don't want anybody to lock me down, not right now. What do you guys think about that? Can you be independent and submissive? I don't really feel like you can, because I think, like I said, independent is the opposite of submissive. Submissive means, to me, women are the same way, just to sleep with you and then throw you away. Who did that to you? Who hurt you, Dr. Ninja Turtle? Who hurt you? I'm not like that. I'm not like that. Once you with me, you stuck with me. That's why I say I just want to be friends. Because if we start doing all that, uh-uh. Like, you better only be doing that with me, number one. And number two, where do you think you're going? Get back in here and sit down somewhere. You my man now. And now it's time for you to start paying bills, start taking out trash, start planning holidays, matching outfits, all of that. All of that. I want it all. I want the whole shebang. If you're my man, and if I sleep with you, that means you're my man. When is our wedding? When are we gonna start looking at venues and picking out our colors? When are we gonna announce our engagement? That must be what's gonna happen. Otherwise, otherwise you're just playing. And that's okay with me. You don't have to be serious, but don't think I'm gonna take you serious either. So yeah, I don't think that you can be independent and submissive. I think those are two polar opposites. Submissive is, okay, I agree to allow you to be the head of our family, and your first wife hurt you. Oh no, oh no. But see, you didn't know her. You didn't know her. You got her pregnant, rushed into marriage. I'm just saying, is that what happened? And then so it probably wasn't true love. You probably were just marrying her out of a sense of uh a responsibility. It wasn't really a sense of love, not like it is with your wife now, right? The wife you have now, I'm sure you love, you care about, you're attracted to, and like you said, you spoil her. So it's different now, right? And so that's another thing too. Like, I feel like, can I be honest? Can I be real, guys? I feel like if I already had that kind of love, that passionate love with somebody else, I feel like I want the same thing, but not toxic and dysfunctional. But I want somebody to be in love with me like that. I felt like that about the man I was married to. I felt like when I walked past, I turned him on. I felt like me and him, it could just be me and him in a room, and we didn't, in a crowd full of people, and we would ignore everybody else. I felt like that with him when I was married to him. But it was a lot of BS that went along with that too. A lot of bad times, more so than good times. So moving forward, I think that I would choose. Is there a sin to do divorce? The Bible says it is. The Bible says God hates divorce, and unless your husband is cheating, it don't say for any other reason. It says cheating is the only way that you can divorce. Now, in auntie's case, I did divorce, but also he cheated. So I was legally allowed to divorce because I was being cheated on. Two, he also passed away. So now I am free to marry without being branded an adulteress. So I can I can marry again freely. But that's what I'm saying. That's why you got to get to know these people. And nothing is guaranteed. Even if you took 10 years, you can marry somebody and they not be all that you thought they were. I don't think that's I don't think that's that, that's common that you marry somebody and you 10 years later you find out they weren't who you thought they were. Maybe you finally opened your eyes and seen them for who they are, but they've always been who they were, and you probably just didn't accept it, right? So, with maturity and living and going through things, you may see things differently, but that person is who they are. So, that's why I said, say, take your time getting to know people. Don't just marry somebody because you're lonely or because you don't want to because you want to get down in the bedroom and you don't want to do so without being married. Like really take your time because I feel like if you take your time getting to know people, you'll have a better outcome. That's just my take on it. So I'm not gonna be on here too much longer. We're gonna wrap it up. Nobody came up on the panel. You guys hurt my feelings with that. But thanks for all of the engagement. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you didn't hit the like button, please hit the like button. I know sometimes people come in and forget to hit the like button. So please do that. And when I say that about divorce, I'm saying that about what I read in the Bible. So not just my opinion. So since I said that, let me go to that verse. Since you asked about sin, let me go to that. And so I can give you scripture. You want to invite to my wedding? You know what, Tasha? I think I'm not going to be touching on that subject tonight. Bible says about marriage. The Bible describes marriage as a sacred. Let me see. No, that's not what I meant. What does the Bible say about divorce? It says God hates divorce, viewing marriage as a sacred and permanent union, but permits it under certain circumstances, such as adultery. And if you have a husband or a wife that's a non-believer and they abandon you, if you're a Christian and you believe and your husband doesn't or your wife doesn't and they leave you, you are no longer bound to them and you're free to let them go. If there's extreme neglect or abuse, then you are. It doesn't say it in the Bible, but biblical scholars say that you can. It doesn't say that you can in the divorce somebody for abuse, only for adultery. So Matthew 19:6, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Malachi 2:16, God hates divorce. It's a violation of the covenant he created. Divorce can lead to adultery, Matthew 5:32. So yeah. Everybody will be invited the day I get married. I'm going to get married probably in, I have one last bar to get into out of high school and into college. And that's about 5 years. So I got to start working on that. As they going on to college, as the last one leaves, then I can start, I can start settling down. But I got 5 years before that happens. So I mean, I feel like, I feel like if I have myself together at that time, I got a lot of work to do on me. Um, I'ma just keep it real. I have a lot of goals I still want to achieve. And I think that's probably the most important thing while you're dating and before you settle down with somebody. What do you want for yourself, not from the other person? I think before you marry somebody or become committed to somebody, like you want to get engaged, you want to date with the intent of marriage. I think before you take those steps, you should know who you are and you should know what you want. Because if you marry somebody before you have really experienced life, before you have reached your goals, before you are sure of where you stand as a person, then you're going to be denying yourself something great. You're going to be denying yourself the opportunity to really find out what true happiness is on your own. And how can you go into a marriage and you're not already happy and fulfilled? That's another thing too. I don't think people consider that. Like when you go into a marriage, you go into a marriage with the intent to give somebody else something, not take away. So if I don't have anything to give you yet, and I just want to be friends while I'm getting to know me, I don't understand why people would have an issue with that. But that's just my take on the subject. Thank you guys for tuning in. And hopefully, some of you get a better understanding of why I say that when dating, single women and men should have that freedom. Hey, Mama Three, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for tuning in. I'm just wrapping it up. I've had a long day as always, and I didn't want to make this live too lengthy, but I really feel like everyone should have an opportunity, especially at our age. If I look at my analytics, I don't have little kids over here. I have mostly 40, 50, and 60-year-old people coming to my channel. And either you all are still married or you are all divorced and trying to get married for a second time. And in which case, if you are divorced, you did get a notification. You know what? I am following a lot of people like Dr. Ninja Turtle, for instance. I'm following him. I think I have my notifications turned on and I still don't get them. The only way I see that you're live is if I'm just scrolling and I happen to come to your, see, I'm tired, guys. And if I happen to come across your live, or if you say you're going to go live and then I'll put it in. Sometimes, a lot of times I try to be very intentional about supporting other creators. And if I see that you said you're going to go live, I'll put you in my calendar and schedule you guys so I can make sure I'm there. But it's okay. Don't worry. You have an opportunity to join on another occasion. I gotta start uploading videos. I'm very lazy about editing and uploading video every Friday, 8:15 a.m. Absolutely. Last Friday I was out shopping all day. So sometimes on Fridays, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm in and out. I have a lot of running around to do, a lot of momming to do. Thank you, Tasha. I have a lot going on, so I'm not always at home. Even that Friday that I joined your live, I'm driving and I'm listening to your live, and then I think I probably parked to engage with a few comments. So a lot of times I'm not actually at home. Like when I'm in the mornings, when I'm at home, like I'm up early in the mornings. I've been up since like 3 a.m. today. That's why I'm tired. Okay. It's only 7:35. Yeah, it's my bedtime, y'all. Guys, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. If you have a comment or something like that watching a replay, please don't feel intimidated. Please leave your comment. Let me know the real. Let me know how you really feel. Uh, do you feel like single women are free to do as they please and that submission is for married women only? Let me know. Do you agree with that statement? If you disagree, let me know. You've been up since 4 a.m.? Ugh, it's the worst. Like I'm gonna go to bed right now. I'm gonna wash the makeup off my face and I'm probably gonna go to bed. Like I may not even go to bed, but I'm gonna lay it down and then I'll probably be asleep by 9 and be right back up at 2, 3. I don't know why I can't sleep. Thank you. I love them too, Dr. Ninja Turtle. You guys have a great night. Stay blessed. And thanks for watching. Good night.